Hey, how are you guys? I just wanted to do a quick encouragement video just because I feel like they're more fun than reading a long text or a long email sometimes. And one, I just wanted to thank you for bringing your full, authentic selves last night, and wherever you're at is perfect. As you wrestle with the growth, as you wrestle with these conversations, wherever you're at is perfect. And with what everyone shared, I could identify with a lot of it. And this is probably my 10th or 11th team that I've done. And even some of the conversations where you guys are stuck, I'm like, oh man, like I could be, I identify with that. So thank you for what you shared. And wherever you're at is perfect. It's not right, wrong, good, or bad. It's perfect. And I just thank you for your sacrifice. I know that this is, I don't take lightly that it's a heavy investment. And so we thank you as captain and sponsors for what you've given over to this. And we have a commitment and want so much more for each other. And it doesn't have to be done alone. So I just want to say a little bit more on hope, and I love what people shared about hope, that it's love extended to the future. And specifically with enrollment conversations, I feel like the hope piece, we invite people into hope when we get to a space where we get super specific and really get to co-create a dream with them. And so when you get to a point in the conversation where people are super talking about what they want to see changing in their life. Maybe it's like a relationship or a job. The place where we, I think, really get to invite them into hope is getting super specific in those areas. Sometimes I'll spend 30 minutes to an hour just painting this beautiful dream with them because most of the time, I find in conversations that people don't actually know what they want. They just know that they're not happy with where things are at now. And so, for example, like a relationship with a spouse. I want a better relationship with a spouse, my wife. Great example. And um, uh, the next invitation to invite them into hope and to dream together, co-create something, would be, well, what would you like that relationship to look like? If you had what you wanted and that relationship looked different, how would it look different? What would it be? What would your guys' week look like together? Super specific. And then when you get there, like, oh, how would you feel if things were different? And in that, most of the time, people haven't really thought about what they actually want. They just know what they don't want. And so when you're in that space, one, it's fun and it's holy and it's honoring. And two, I think really then people begin to hope, like, oh, wow, because you're in the space of like, oh, I never even said that out loud. And man, is that even possible? Could I get there? It's interesting. And I feel like that is the place we invite people into hope. And then so the training or anything else, some sort of action item becomes, they're pretty open to, because wow, that picture is so beautiful. There's something to hope for, not just what they don't want, but what they do want. Um, so that's hope. And I also wanted to comment on what we talked a little bit about our commitment. And we have a big commitment of 86 people, and the new ground that we're all up to, I think, matches that. Relationships, business, health wise. It's a big commitments. Then we're up to big things in our lives. And I don't want to lower that commitment for us, because I want the full abundance and thriving life for each and every one of us. I don't want us to settle for just a little bit better relationship or a little bit better business. I want us to have the full on thing. And so, um, yeah, I feel like in that space is where the growth is for us. That even though failure seems imminent, that we would still pursue on and be creative on how ways that we can meet our commitment and not lose any of our enthusiasm or vigor or towards moving towards that commitment, regardless of the time, regardless of how far away it seems it is. And um, in that work together, because we don't have to do it alone, is the provision for us in our new ground, in our enrollments, to reach our target in that area, in that space, in that tension. Is the growth for us because I think typically, if you're like me, I want to lower the bar and pat myself on the back for meeting that bar. But I do that every day of my life, and that hasn't been serving me or getting me the results that I want. But what if we kept the bar high and kept pursuing it, even though it may look like we're not going to make it, and so we're engaging differently than we would normally, even by pursuing that, and our conversation we have about ourselves in the midst of that. Oh man, I can't do that. Well, how do we make this feasible? It seems overwhelming looking at that number. So, what if you just chunked it down? How do you, my dad always says, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And so, let's just chunk it down. How do we get uh, one of our yeses, one of our maybes to a registration? Just one in the next 3 days, in the next 5 days. How do we get one registration? And I mean, the same thing. I think the provision in there is also in our new ground as well. And so, how do we eat healthy for one day, for one meal? Who's one more person we can invite? Just chunk it down to one step. And we got through one day, 2 days, 3 days. And before you know it, we ate the whole elephant. We made our way there. And so I'd say look even at the specifics right now, even see the relation in the conversation. Just the specifics, small part of our big vision, and focus on that. And in that, would we be invited to hope of the bigger vision of like, wow, anything is possible. You think about Elon Musk, who once committed to colonizing Mars, and he keeps missing his target dates. Rockets blow up, and people keep throwing hundreds of millions of dollars at him to do it because he hasn't changed his commitment on reaching Mars and keeps failing. But man, the needle keeps moving up on his progress on being a private enterprise that colonizes Mars. So, man, for us, I hope and dream that we would reach for the stars in our conversations, in our relationships, in our jobs, and in our health. Would we stay committed? And we don't have to do it alone. So, would you reach out and get creative? And when you're in that narrative of feeling stuck and like it's impossible, reach out and know that you're not alone. Much love.